If you're not objective, you'll let the world on the outside. Anything you infatuate with, anything that you resent, anything you put on a pedestal, anything you put in a pit and don't put it in your heart, is going to occupy space and time in your mind. It's going to run your mind and distract you from the calling that's in the heart, that's inspired to serve.
Dr. Demartini, I don't know if you know, there's just something you said there really triggered something for me. But many, many years ago, I was in an audience where you were speaking. And there's something you said there about this time bringing out more of a genius in us. I actually wrote down there, challenge equals innovation. And there was a lady in the audience, and she stood up and she said to you might, many, many years ago, you wouldn't remember, but she said, Dr. Demartini, how do I know what my true purpose in life is? And I'll never forget, you answered her, and I've gotten to tell the story many times. You answered her, and you said, look, I can't tell you what your purpose is, but you said, right now, I'm pretty sure that the universe is trying to let you express that in any way, shape, or form. And I think that what I've, in consulting with a few people right now, and all our guests, etc., is that the challenge right now is bringing that expression to the fore very, very quickly. It's almost like the universe's way of forcing change, often where change was trying to happen. I just wrote something down there. You said there's three things. You said perception, action, and decisions. And I'm of the opinion that our perceptions right now, because there's so much, we can control that. But when it comes to controlling our perceptions, because there's so much external stimuli that is fear-based, are there any points you can give us on that right now? Because often, there is.
I really don't pay attention to people's emotions.
Yeah.
I pay attention to their heart. Emotions distort subjectively with bias and distort things, just like in this situation with this man in Minneapolis.
Yes.
There's lots of emotions around there. I don't pay attention to that. I go to the facts. If you're not objective, you'll let the world on the outside. Anything you infatuate with, anything that you resent, anything you put on a pedestal, anything you put in a pit and don't put it in your heart, is going to occupy space and time in your mind. It's going to run your mind and distract you from the calling that's in the heart, that's inspired to serve. And we have the responsibility to not let those distractions that are skewed subjective biases interfere with an objective mission. That's why in practice, if you don't have objective data to be able to monitor the progress you're making, you'll let their emotions, and they'll let their emotions mislead you into their status. And so I'm a firm believer of not paying attention to the world around me that way, but look at what the real needs are, not the presumed reactions by mass media, which sells sensationalism. The master media is different than the mass media. And I don't let the mass media distract my mission, because I'm not interested in being a mass individual. I'm interested in being a master. So I don't pay attention to that. And if somebody shows me the upside, see, when you're infatuated, you're conscious of the upside, you're unconscious of the downside. When you're resentful, you're conscious of the downside, you're unconscious of the upside. You're not fully conscious. So knowing how to ask intuitively prompted questions to allow you to see both sides and center yourself and see both sides allows you to get objective and then stay focused and not emotionally distracted by elusive individuals that are causally related by persuasions of the mass media. I don't pay attention to that because that's not the facts. Can I share a few things that might be helpful?
Yeah, please.
I'd like to take off.
Go ahead.
When an animal is in the wild, it has a prey and a predator in its food chain. And there's a camouflaging effect between species. And so what happens, the prey is trying to camouflage away from the predator, as the predator is also trying to camouflage from the prey. So we develop in our amygdala, in our inner subcortical areas of our brain, a thing called patternicity, to be able to scan through the camouflage and notice patterns and try to look for patterns that might have pareidolik facial expressions of a human or an animal. And then pareidolia comes in there to helps us animate those in case it's a real animal out there that might be something to eat or something that could eat us. We also have what is called apophenia, which we add meaning to those from our previously subconsciously stored information. On top of that, we also induce agenticity to make sure it looks animated. And we actually create what is called a false positive. A false positive is to assume something's there when it's not. Because in survival out in the wild, if we assume that there's a prey there, we might catch it. If we assume there's a predator, we might not get eating. But to assume that it's not there when it actually is, we could die and starve. So anytime we're in our amygdala and we're not in our executive function, because we're not living by priority, and we're allowing the world on the outside to distract us instead of the voice and vision on the inside and the mission to guide us, we go into our amygdala, we go into our desire center, we desire prey, we try to avoid predator, and we're into, as the Buddha says, the desire for that which is unavailable and the desire to avoid that which is unavoidable is the source of human suffering. And we get caught in this amygdala delusion, and we created false positives as a survival mechanism to get the adrenal glands kicked in to run fast enough to catch the prey and avoid the predator. But we have to skew it with false positives to create a survival mechanism. So people in survival are going to distort reality. And when I see people with skewed, polarized perspectives, I don't pay attention to them because I found out that they mislead, they distort, they emotionally react. They're not in grace. They're not in love. They're not inspired. They're not, thankful for life. They're not enthused about life. They're emotional about life. So I don't let that run my life. I let my mission and my priorities and what I know that I'm called to do direct it. And then I compare my actions not to others. I compare my actions to my own highest values to make sure I'm living by priority and get on with doing the thing that actually gets a result.
Hey, thanks for watching the video, and hopefully you found it helpful. And if you have found it helpful, you might want to grab one of my free books called New Patient Avalanche. It's exactly how we grew our 8 practices, $7 million worth of turnover, 10,000 new patients every single year. It's the exact marketing blueprint we use for that. It's completely free. All you do is pay for shipping. So click on the link or go to my website, dcpracticegrowth.com, and grab your free book. We'll send it to you and some other resources. It's free. All you do is pay for shipping. Go to the website. See you on the other side.